You're watching the Tesla Life with your host, Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Life number 249. Here we are, the 13th of April, 2022, and we're all back in the studio today. How is everybody out there? Hope you're doing well.
Good to have you back.
Welcome to the show. And Casey, of course, has moved out of studio. He's now doing the show from the driveway. I don't know why. It's going to be difficult in the rain, Casey, but okay.
Right? I missed my Model S a little bit.
Yeah, pre-refresh Model S.
This is the last nose cone. Like there is the same vintage with a new nose cone. Yes.
Fantastic. So just watch out for those kids on scooters. They can be mean.
Indeed. And first one in the chat was JC Jimbo. JC Jimbo.
JC Jimbo. Welcome to the show. So
he sounds
Patrick
like somebody who
has joined
enjoys
us
the
from
Cyber
the West
Rodeo.
Coast. How are you today, sir?
I am good. Hello out there, Tesla Nation. Welcome to our little show with the Tesla community, chit-chatting about all the news and goings-on and in all things in the Muskoverse.
Very good. And Casey's munching on something. What's happening in
Looks
DC
like
today, sir?
Eating seaweed.
Right from the Potomac, right?
Oh, helping not.
Yeah, I don't think you'd last the whole show if it was. Oh, man. Well, yeah, so back from my trip and successful there. Had a good little vacation and lots to talk about because, of course, the next day after our previous podcast, it was Tesla Rodeo.
So
yes,
on your trip, did you attempt to test Elon's less strict door policies?
I was not going to drive a day's worth to find out if his less strict door policy was correct. And I'm glad I didn't because it was still a strict policy.
Yeah.
There were, in fact, they were the group that hung out in front of Giga Texas was actually threatened at one point with the police to be called.
Right.
So I don't think that actually happened, but the security was none pleased that there was a whole bunch of people that were thinking about crashing the gate or trying to figure out how they could get in or see if they could get security to believe that Elon will allow them in because his less strict door policy was in effect.
So that was something that a local club member, he said, let's go and see what happens. And then as he got there, then he saw the tweet. And then he sent us video of some of the folks who were there and a little more aggressive than he was. He's one to take no for an answer. And they so what are you going to do, call the cops? And the answer was yes. But basically, just because Elon tweets something doesn't mean that his employees are care or are aware of it.
Yeah.
And if you show them the tweet, it doesn't mean anything. Even if they believe you that you're not showing them something photoshopped, they're going to continue what they were already doing.
Right.
Yeah. And I think eventually security did get the message to chill and not necessarily let them in, but they did let them hang out there where they could see the fireworks show and other stuff. And I mean, they were telling them, get off the property. This is private property. If you don't leave, we're calling the police. And it's like, no, well, you can let them hang out in another space. You can't overflow what permits you have for that area, but you also don't have to have Tesla owners get arrested at trying to get into a Tesla event. That's going to be some bad PR. So yeah, I think they finally found the happy medium.
Yeah, I think people having to be bailed out of jail might have pushed the wrong narrative that Tesla wanted for that evening.
Right, that's not the news stories you want coming out of this event.
Yeah, you can bet the news would have been all over that for sure. But
yes.
Like you said, Casey, some people push things too far. It doesn't matter what community you're part of. You've already got people too far to the left and too far to the right. So it does happen.
And I'm not throwing rocks from glass houses here. I also followed up on an Elon tweet a couple years ago. So when this thing was in my driveway and it's on its way out, I was going to pick up the Model X, and Elon had tweeted, "We need help delivering cars," and I was like, "Okay, well, I'm already going to be there anyway," and I was already there early. The tweet actually came in while I was on the road, and rather than accept my help with the deliveries, they moved my delivery up like 8 slots just to get rid of me.
Oh, this guy's willing to help. Get his ass out of here.
Exactly. There were several things at play there, and they were afraid of getting free labor in North Carolina. They were afraid of the dealer groups that were causing them much trouble at the time, that had actually got them demoted back from dealership store to gallery and service center. So they were afraid that either could have been used against them, or they didn't suspect that I was part of that group, but you can never be sure. And that's a very easy gotcha. So they just said, he won't stick around once he's got his car. Get out of here.
Yeah, I can see them not wanting to rock the boat if they were already in a precarious position when it comes to the dealer laws.
Yeah.
Right. Tesla's not a charity, so you can't exactly volunteer for them. There are minimum wage laws and other things, and employment laws, and so just because Musk tweets something doesn't mean everybody has to do that, because there are complications.
Yeah, and it's amazing to me that so many Tesla employees don't even follow the tweets of Elon, because this has happened in the past many times where he's announced something or provided some information, and I've talked to Tesla employees that were just completely unaware that the tweet had ever happened. So that's kind of surprising. Maybe that's changed recently, but
I doubt it.
Not sure if it has.
Yeah, but it wasn't good when you're already on thin ice, and then you're in a place that you're not sure what's going on, and like literally, like I said, it happened while I was on my way to the store. So you can imagine that that if they were up when the tweet was out, they were getting ready to go to work. Get there 5 minutes before it opens and do your thing, and they didn't have time to see that. And it was not the first time he's done something like that either. That was just the only one that I tried out firsthand.
Right. Well, let's go over some of the news that happened at the Cyber Rodeo, the Giga Texas launch. It was quite an event. We'll touch on some of the stuff here, and you guys can comment or come in with what you want. One thing I wanted to talk about first off was the Model Y launch. So while Elon was on stage near the end of his presentation, he had indicated that they were going to, deliver some cars, is what I took from what he said. He just kind of stepped back, and then all of a sudden, a whole row of Model Ys rolled up on stage, rolled over the stage, and rolled off the stage. And it was like, hold on, aren't they supposed to get people in the cars? And it turns out, I guess, the owners were already in the cars.
Right.
I didn't even see an owner wave out the window. All the windows seemed to be up as they were going up and over the stage.
And then this really big, ugly Model Y followed them, like this ugly duckling. And it stopped on stage.
No, before we go to before we move to that one though, the Model Y now is being made in Fremont, in Berlin, in Shanghai, and in Austin. That is awesome. And when they had the Model Y reveal 2 years ago or whenever it was, we talked about how it is going to be Tesla's most important vehicle, even though it wasn't the flashiest event reveal. And in fact, Musk was kind of like, "Oh, there it is." Compared to what he did on some of their other vehicles, he really downplayed it. And I don't know if he was anti-selling because they weren't in production then, or what. But it's quite obvious that this is the most important car that Tesla makes as far as their company future profitability, revenue, all those things.
This was closer to the kind of launch that thing should have had.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
They still didn't really focus on it, but it was there, and they.
We had all commented at the time that was really a mild event for the Model Y, which deserved much more than what it got.
Yeah. We were still new to streaming, but we had if you look down and click on the Tesla Life channel link. You can watch our reactions to that if you'd like.
Right. Yeah. See if I'm remembering
You're remembering
accurately.
it right.
Here it is. Hope you like it. Whatever.
It's in the dark. A blue one in the dark in a corner.
Doors. It's got doors. It's got tires. There it is. That's it. Time to move on. But what I wanted to touch upon with the new Model Y was, of course, here at Giga Texas at the launch, this Model Y is going to be different than the others, just from the sheer fact of not just a cover at the back for your cargo, but this is a 4680 battery pack. And we found out afterwards, because this was not mentioned at all during the launch, but these cars have a smaller battery pack, and it is the other type of Model Y that was given to the EPA a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And the one that's going to be 279 mile range. So slightly less than the 330 or so that the regular one has.
It's more than we've ever had.
Yeah. But it was interesting that new 4680 pack, and I actually have a photo here that I can share from our Twitter feed. That they have
so
a
this is a standard range, which they haven't made in Fremont since for a long time now.
But these are the standard range or standard range all-wheel drive?
Standard range all-wheel drive.
So they haven't made this one at all yet. This was the one that just came out.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is still a dual motor variant, just with a smaller battery, and of course the 4680.
Yeah, there's two genius things about that. One, 4680 production has not massively ramped yet. So having fewer cells in a pack allows them to make more vehicles with the cells that they have. And then two, because they're not making a standard range in Fremont, this now differentiates those vehicles. Because a couple weeks ago in the show, I was like, I wouldn't want one from Fremont. I want one from Texas, where they're doing the front and rear casting and the structural pack. And why would I want one from Fremont? Well, here they give you a perfectly good reason to get one from Fremont. That's the longer range vehicle. So they're not competing with each other by making the same vehicle in two different ways at two different places. And I think there's two awesome things they did there with that.
Yeah. The other clever thing about that is currently I'm understanding that the battery line at Giga Austin is currently in test mode. So right now they're running on batteries from Cato Road. So needing less batteries is also good in terms of transport.
Yes.
Yeah. So they can still make more cars with less batteries, but now it matters because the batteries aren't made here.
Right. Fewer cells per pack.
Yeah.
And of course, at the event as well, another thing with the Model Y is they had a number of displays up and showing the megacasts. So they showed a blowout of the front end and the back end, how many parts it used to take to make it, and now the new megacast showing how it's pressed out of the GigaPress and all in one piece with all the parts included. And what I didn't think about with that was that think of all the waste from those individual parts that had to be cut or modified, and some of it is not used and is cut off from it.
And all
that goes away because what you've got is molten metal, aluminum, being pushed into a die, and it's got the proper amount. There's no extra that needs to be shaved off. Maybe there's some rough edges.
Yeah, a little bit of flashing, but that's it. Compared to stamping,
not like
that has
a traditional part that has to be added to 149 additional parts in order to create the piece.
Plus, since you're already melting down aluminum, you can just dump it back in the vat.
Right.
Instead of recycling.
Right.
Just throw it over your shoulder and plop her in. Yeah.
Yeah. Trim off whatever and put it right back into the feedstock, and away you go.
Yeah.
But that was pretty cool. And they, of course, had the display that we just showed where they shaved off part of the car so you could see the pack in place. And of course, that's the other big difference besides the battery, which is going to give you increased charging times or faster charging times, because of course the battery is bigger. It's going to be able to hold more. And there's some speculation out there that that's what's going to drive the version 4 chargers. Right now, we're up to 250 kilowatt hours, but with the larger batteries, they think that that's what's going to enable it to go beyond that to 300 to 350 area. So that's speculation at this point, but Tesla is certainly going to be able to look at that and start. I'm sure they've already ramped it up internally to see what it can take. And that's the other part of this whole delivery thing, and why the windows were raised when the cars went across the stage, because these were all employees. The 20 or so, or the 10 or so cars that were shown, Tesla has said that employees got the first vehicles. So, and that's why we haven't seen anything on the internet. There's been no real
social media
YouTuber
policy
that's got a hold of one that has shown people anything about it, because these are Tesla employees and they're keeping everything internally and they're not releasing anything. So that's kind of why the fanfare was a little bit low. You didn't have people like at Giga Berlin who got their cars and were happily waving out the windows as they were leaving the factory. None of that happened, and that makes sense now that we saw that, and then we heard after the fact that these are employees.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's why they could deliver them in Texas as well.
Could be.
Anytime a pleasant experience.
Oh, sorry, Casey. What'd you say?
You cut out, Casey.
Try to get a Tesla employee on camera, other than the ones that are authorized to speak. It's never a pleasant experience for anybody.
No.
Yeah.
Right. They can only make career-limiting moves. That is not the kind of thing you want to do.
And in some cases, career-ending moves, right, Patrick?
Yes. Yeah. What kind of limit? You're right. I'm an AI addict, and I'm going to run into something and post it on the internet. That'll work out fine, right?
Yeah,
that's Elon's cool. Elon
Tesla
may be
likes,
cool, but your boss might
Tesla
not.
likes media.
Yeah.
Any press is good press.
Very good. Well, Casey, let's move on to the ugly duckling at the end of the Model Y
I'm
parade.
offended. How dare you two call it that? It is a beautiful machine.
It's going to blossom into a beautiful swan. So I was impressed mostly that it has Model X doors, as far as the self-presenting and self-closing doors.
No. What are we talking about?
The CyberTruck.
Thank you for the context.
Okay, so the CyberTruck, it's one of the prototypes rolled up on stage. There were two there, and then shortly after, there was another one spotted in California. So unless they flew it from Texas to California, it was probably a third one. And we got to see the doors. Franz declined to break the window. And we got to see the doors in action. Let me pull up a couple of video clips that we got from our friends at Drive Tesla Canada.
They are going to have to smack those windows again
yes.
Now that they've reformulated it. That when it has its delivery event, they're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
Hopefully not to a customer vehicle.
Well, so the problem is it better be successful and it better be really good, because you're gonna have a bunch of just people out there just pelting your car. All right, so this one, it has two modes. It has a mode like the new Roadster, and then it has a mode like the Model X. So let's take a look at the Roadster style. And this large area here is a camera, so the car can recognize you coming up to it, and then unlock if it's you. But you can also do Roadster style and kind of swipe down on the B pillar, and then it'll pop, and then you can pull it. What they don't show here is that as Elon gets in, he pushes the brake and the door shuts, just like the Model X. The other way is it's got the what do they call that thing? The drawing a blank on the name.
It's
the self-presenting door. See how it opened right there? The window dropped and it popped open.
Yep.
But he didn't come back in time, so it didn't open all the way.
So after a few seconds, it closed itself again, right?
Right.
It pulled the door in and locked.
Mine does this all the time. So I'm going to get the mail. I've plugged it in. I'm walking back the other way. It opens the door. Let's go for a ride. I'm like, yeah, no. I walk around the door. I'm halfway to the mailbox, and the door slams shut. Like it's offended that we didn't go for a ride.
Yeah.
The nice thing here is that it doesn't open. The X opens farther than that did.
This is true.
And
but I'm wondering if that's just because he's next to a sensor, though, because the same thing happens on the X when my wife tries to get in. I push the button, and it goes, and it's not enough for her to get in. And then she goes back further up, and I hit the button again, and it swings open as far as it's able to open without smacking into another
it's trying
car.
to prevent hitting somebody, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a video of somebody with their Model X where they're walking up to it on the driver's side, which is in traffic, and
Yes.
they're waiting for the traffic timing to be right, and they get too close, and the door pops open into traffic. That you don't want that. So having it just pop out a little bit is a nice feature.
Yeah. See, in that situation there, I would approach it from an angle where I could either grab the door or where it's not going to see me.
Yeah.
And I understand that during the Giga Texas launch, that they had a couple, like you said, Casey, a couple of them there, a couple Cybertrucks, and one of them they were keeping away from the public. The other one was on display; you could get within a couple feet of it. But the one that they were keeping away from the public was the one that was driven on stage. And that one, as they were maneuvering it through the factory to get to the stage area, pre people getting at the stage, they showed it maneuvering around. And of course, the four-wheel steering was in full display. So you could actually see the rear wheels being turned as the vehicle was moving. There it is. So the wheels, of course, turning a bit. They don't turn as much as the front wheels,
Right.
But that is certainly going to be a plus for people navigating small spaces.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You want to do some rock climbing or just getting a tight turn? That's very handy.
Yeah, and then there was a close-up of the wiper. So we learned, as I guess it was confirmation, that the wiper itself is really a big arm with two wiper blades on it, two standard size wiper blades that are offset slightly.
That's nice, because otherwise that blade would be like $80.
Yeah.
Instead, you can just get two normal blades that are a lot cheaper.
I think more than that, the Model X blades are $80.
So it's certainly looking like.
No, they're not.
Yes, like they are. I got charged $79 for self-installation last time.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got ripped off, my friend.
Can you get them at AutoZone?
No, because they have the washer fluid goes through the blade with a hose.
I just had mine replaced. It was $35 at Tesla.
At the service center?
Did it. Yeah.
Maybe there's some sort of law that you guys have to have reasonable prices for rubber.
You may want to check with Patrick next time you're going to buy those. And,
just drive to Oregon and have it done, and then go back.
He can shop them for you. Yeah. It's
ship
worth the
mine
drive to the other side of the country.
That could have something to do with it. I'm right now going to shop.tesla.com to check out what's going on here.
Yeah, so of course they had the newer rims and tires on the vehicle. They did not have the aero wheel covers on them. I think that looks better, anyways. But
I agree.
That's just me.
I agree. That particular.
And the other thing that we saw was that the rear glass was actually down in the model that Elon drove. So it looks like that glass can contract or go up. And again, that was the one that people couldn't get close to. They only saw it on stage and from a far distance. So there might be more to that prototype. Both of them did not have door handles. Area. I'm sorry, Patrick?
I said some kind of cargo pass-through area from the cab to the bed, or as they call it, the vault.
Yeah.
Vault.
Yeah. So
they are $35 a piece, but $70 total.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So, yeah, we're both right. They're $35, but together closer to $80.
Yeah. Plus tax and shipping.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No tax here. Love that.
Nice. That's probably a lot why. Nice. The other thing I liked about it was the when they showed it off, I forget. It was just awesome to see the Cybertruck there.
It was. And then here's another little thing that's kind of interesting. which maps in nicely with the Cybertruck.
Oh yes,
The cyber
The
stalls.
cyber urinals in the cyber factory. So yeah, that's I think everything is Cybertrucked.
It was a cyber rodeo.
Exactly.
so I wonder if those were for the rodeo or if those are permanent.
They look
Those
pretty
look pretty
permanent to me.
Yeah. But
So
they
they had,
built this factory with this in mind, so
yeah,
I
they
mean,
had
it's not a
extra sheet
surprise.
metal laying around.
That's true. Your
Yeah,
job is
is
make
that
toilets today.
Extra stainless steel everywhere.
right? Is that Tesla's 308 design steel? Whatever the number is.
Oh
David.
man. Fun stuff. Well, I know I knew I had to show that because we talked about the Madonna inns urinal as well.
We did.
So, this is the show to discuss that on for whatever reason.
Right, we
But,
talk about EV police cars and urinals. Those are our two big topics that no one else covers.
No one else covers these things. So we got it all.
You never get that covered elsewhere. Yeah, that's an exclusive, my friend.
So I wanted to share this little
Show title:
video
Cyber
from
Urinal.
Cyber Urinal. I wanted to share this little video from Tesla for Giga Texas. As soon as I could get my screen back, the full screen button was covered by something else. All right, so rewind this, turn off the speaker because I did get a copyright claim from Epidemic Sound or whoever when I shared it on Sunday, and I don't want to do that to Mark. All right, so not YouTube, Twitter. Come on, there it is. So this was one of my favorite parts of the presentation right here. Just imagine that we're hearing nature sounds, birds, the clip clop of horseshoes hitting, compacted dirt. Yeah, exactly like that. And then I thought this might have been Elon at first because that's kind of his dress style, but it was a female. And then you got a lone Model Y.
That was Ilana.
Ilona, yes. Then she begins to chase down the Model Y, and then you've got, it just starts, making a mess. So she goes to wrangle it in, and then you've got a stampede.
It's a wild Y.
Dramatic music, yeah. It's not CG, this is real. For whatever reason.
That would have been fun to do.
Yes. And then we had a little aerial tour of the factory and a little look inside, which I thought was pretty cool. I think it was right here where the music claim came from. I just muted the whole thing because I don't play that game.
Yeah.
And then they're showing you the assembly process. There's so many robots in there, even more so than Fremont, which is pretty roboticized.
Downtown Austin.
Yep, you can see the single cast construction. Like it had the big hole in the bottom where you could shove up the battery with the seats and interior attached to it. Right there was just, I don't know why they put that in there.
The horns cool. On the hood.
The horns on the hood and the jump.
Yeah.
And then we've got our ugly duckling.
Yeehaw! That's why.
Yeah, yeehaw.
And of course, that one with the horns was ferrying people around, like
Disney.
Yeah, like at Disney, exactly.
I always
people.
Yeah, I always said that Disney should pull an EV there instead of a diesel tractor, poisoning all the children on their way into the park.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they were pulling a bunch of. So hey, that could be what they start doing in the tunnels later in the Boring Company.
Yep. As long as they're going 30 miles an hour, they might as well do that.
Exactly. Well, another part of the presentation was Elon saying that they got a whole bunch of things going on. He wasn't going to explain them all, but he did hint at robo taxi. And he indicated that this is a new vehicle that will be futuristic looking, and it's going to be dedicated to being a robo taxi. Didn't go into a lot of detail, didn't indicate what it looked like except for futuristic, and had indicated that this would be a dedicated vehicle to moving people around. So Is it going to be similar to what we've seen from the early Boring Company renders of a glass clad vehicle that would move multiple passengers and luggage around? We don't know. Or is it going to be more like Cruise's offering, which is basically 4 wheels on a box that allows people into folding doors in the center? They could get in. There's different seating arrangements that can be made. We know nothing really. We don't know the size of it. There, of course, have been hints in the past with the Boring Company's deals that they have signed that they were going to have some sort of a bus. The Ontario airport in California had indicated it would be able to hold 12 people and luggage, which was that particular model. We don't know if it's the same one, but this is kind of interesting. This is a new vehicle, a new path for Tesla to be able to allow people to move in, I guess, greater amounts than 4 or 5 inside a Model 3 or Y or X.
Right. Yeah. This was part of Master Plan 2. So, and it's been on again, off again. And they really have things that they've already committed to that they have to deliver before they start talking about anything else. Cybertruck, Semi, Roadster. Get those done. There have been people waiting for those, people who have reservations and deposits. I agree that that's their future, that the cyber taxi is going to happen. They're going to get autonomous driving working at some point. This would be a great thing for them to have on roads, in the Boring Company tunnels. They've already talked about the Model Next, as we call it here, or some people call it the Model 2. And Musk said, should it even have a steering wheel? Yes, he did. So I think this is going to be the vehicle without a steering wheel. And that makes sense. Design it from the beginning to move people around, no steering wheel, easier access to get in and out, be able to load and unload faster and more accessibility. People with in a wheelchair should be able to roll right onto it, and it'll be exciting when it comes out. It'll definitely. I can't wait to see the first prototypes. But in the order of precedence, they've already made commitments they need to deliver to first, in my opinion.
They do.
Yeah, I would agree with that wholly. And people that are waiting for their vehicles would certainly agree with that.
Yes.
But and Elon kind of alluded to that in another conversation he had with a crowd, which is basically 2022, the year that we're in, is going to be the year of increased capacity. Yes. That is what they are going to be working on. So they're going to be working on speeding up the lines, speeding up the battery production, speeding up the production of the actual vehicles and delivering to customers. So this is what they're after. Let's get that Model Y line up and running to efficiency that we needed to, not just at Giga Texas, but also at Berlin. Those two factories need to start to get up to the promise that they have for capacity, and that's what Tesla is going to work on for the remainder of this year. And then he indicated that 2023, that will be the year where they'll be delivering a number of new models that have been promised. So the Cybertruck, the Semi, the Roadster will all be delivered, Elon indicated, in 2023. So nothing new for us, just a reiteration of that's the plan.
Let's take a poll of the three of us here. How many of those vehicles do you think will be delivered in 2023?
Well, here's an interesting thing before you get to the poll and the number. How are they going to report it? Because we know right now that the numbers they report are batched together. So X and 3 are together in one number. S and X are one number. What are they going to do with these 3 new variants? Are they going to lump them together? Are they going to keep them separate? How do we know?
They're going to keep them the same. Why invite themselves any of this extra scrutiny from the boring bonehead question askers?
True. That's why they did combine them in the past. So do you think they'll just add them to the 2 existing categories? Or do you think they'll make a 3rd category and say that's, Cybertruck and everything else?
I think Semi.
has to be its own category. It's so radically different.
Yeah. So I think we'll see SX, 3Y, and Semi. We might even see Semi slash Cybertruck, depending on how close they want to consider them to each other. But I see them condensing it down as much as they can. But with S and X and 3 and Y, you can always say they're the same cars. Just one is a little bit heftier than the other one. But I don't know that you can say the same for Cybertruck or Semi unless they want to say trucks.
Although the interesting combination might be the Roadster and the Semi, just because they're in similar price point.
Similar price point and volume, yeah.
Right, yeah, they're both. So if they just call a low volume category and put those two there, that might be one way to lump them together.
Yeah,
low volume and trucks. Put them all in one category.
Good question, Patrick. I really don't know what the numbers are going to be in 2023. Like how many Cybertrucks, which would be the high volume vehicle of those three, how many Cybertrucks do we think will be delivered in 2023? Will it just be a handful because they won't get into actual production until near the end of 2023? Or do we think that they're actually planning on, getting into it maybe a year from now?
Right. When they showed the layout of the Gigafactory, Texas Gigafactory, or Giga Texas, they had a future expansion area, but they didn't have one labeled Cybertruck. I think that would have helped me think, oh yes, this is already planned. They're working on it. I'm going to start seeing them next year. If they have to build up the line, I guess they could do that this year. And the nice thing about the Cybertruck is you don't have to go through paint. I mean, that's going to save them a lot of time and a lot of space. Yeah. So that's helpful.
But you are missing the larger Giga presses because it's not a small vehicle by any means. Right. I do remember what I was going to say earlier. The rear wheel steering will help with parking because, as Patrick and I know, with the Model X, sometimes you have to take multiple maneuvers for something that should be straightforward because of their length compared to like the parking lots that people are building these days just don't have the spacing for a Model X to get in one pass.
Right. So yeah, we can follow. So it's not going to be Idra doing the mega castings. It's folded sheet metal, right? So I don't even know.
It still has a structure to the vehicle underneath the
Oh,
skin.
okay.
Yeah, and not as much.
Right. Okay. So that's going to be a casting.
Yeah.
And is it going to be one piece, two pieces, the same front and rear with a structural battery, maybe?
They haven't said, but we do see whenever they show the X-ray view of the Cybertruck, it's got some stuff that you can't do with those door frames that you can't do in folded steel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough thing. Like I guess it really depends on when they actually start. If it's going to be a mid-year, an early year, or a late year start.
I see them doing a Christmas party with like 12 deliveries, and because Elon loves a party.
It's going to be the drive across stage thing that we saw with the Model Y just a couple days ago, right?
I was thinking end customers, but you're right.
From the community on what they think as far as deliveries.
Well, if you
go ahead
have
and type it down
below.
Yeah.
Cybertrucks that you think will be delivered in 2023, please put it in the comments, or of course send it to us at our Twitter feed at the Tesla Life, or our Facebook feed, the Tesla Life #1. And of course, David Watts has already chimed in with 0 because he heard on April 1st that the Cybertruck has been canceled. So April 1st, that's a date that seems familiar. Yeah.
Yes. So there were a lot of Cybertruck stories on April 1st. One that they were being delivered this week.
Right. So Mark, aka Mortimer, you want to take down our guesses? I'm gonna say 12 to 26.
12 to 26 for Casey
at the end of the year.
That's no good. You just got to give a number. No ranges, just a number.
12 to 26. It's not that big a range.
So you're going with 12 or 26?
Right. Price is right. You don't get to make multiple guesses. I think it's between 100 and 10,000, Bob.
Well, it was a small range. It was a small range. Let's do 26 and by Christmas.
26 for Casey.
It's in the year. We're doing all.
We're just saying by the end of the year, not
okay.
So,
okay. at a party.
Yeah.
With a candlestick.
Oh, they gotta have a party. Yes.
Right. Now I'm
How
hoping
do you believe they're going to do?
I'm hoping they're sandbagging and that we'll see it by June, but it's not very realistic.
I'm just, Casey took the double digits. I'll go for 100.
Gonna go for 100.
Impressive. They're gonna beat Mary Lev.
Right.
Okay. And I'm gonna be conservative, and I'm gonna say I think they could get rolling and produce 500.
Wow.
I like the way you said conservative and then had the biggest number. Awesome.
So we got our numbers down. Everyone else can vote. We'll record them when you send them in. And thanks very much for participating. Next, we wanted to touch upon Optimus. Optimus subprime, which of course they've dropped the subprime now. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but Elon's no longer saying subprime. He's just saying Optimus now.
He's probably afraid of ticking off Hasbro. He's got enough people just chomping at his every word.
So the robot, the Tesla bot, was on display. Not really a robot. All it was a mannequin. We saw the same one at the initial launch event. But Elon said, with not a lot of conviction, that with all things working out, we should see version 1 by the end of the year. So he's not really pushing on this. He's just saying if everything goes right. So I have a feeling we won't see anything by the end of the year. I think it'll be into 2023 for sure.
Yeah. Musk is known for optimistic timelines, and this is a difficult problem. Real world AI in a robotic form.
This car was supposed to meet me outside my house at the front door after driving out of the garage.
How long ago?
2014, actually. This is a 2016 Model S AP1. So, yeah, my Model X barely does that now with Smart Summon. So, he is known for large,
his optimistic views.
Promises. Views, yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some demo of an arm or a leg, or maybe some first steps. But I don't think we'll see much this year. Some teasers,
maybe some simulations in the training environment inside the pre-dojo.
Yep, they'll have Spot jumping all over it. So we'll have to see.
Especially with Karpathy on sabbatical.
Yeah, that's another big thing. He's gone for at least another 3 months. He has a 4-month sabbatical, and that head of AI off. That's kind of tells me that that not a lot will be fully completed before he's back. So
it was just to clear his head and not like some of the other people who left Tesla and then just like disappeared.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm being stupidly optimistic, but I think he's coming back, unlike some of the others who took sabbaticals and then never went back.
He's still tweeting about AI, so it's not like he's just clearing his head to just learn new stuff and experiment or whatever, which would be really cool.
But I'm sure there are poachers going after him right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But speaking of AI, they finally updated my Model X after 52 days on the previous version of the FSD beta. And I took 2 trips in it. The first one was the smoothest I've ever had a brand new build go. And the second trip was not, but... but for some reason, like anytime after that, like a whole day later, like any other trip after that is a whole nother level. So I'm excited to get out there, run some errands, and see how it's behaving now that it's had a chance to sleep on it.
Okay.
Yeah, we got an update last night. I haven't had a chance to drive it yet. I did drive it Tuesday before the update, and I was at a stop sign, and it was going to turn right. And then for whatever reason, it decided that the blue line that shows where it's going to go went left, and I'm like,
I've had that
what?
happen numerous times. It's like, hey, let's
Huh.
go left.
This
Oh,
is
let's
the
make it
first
right.
time that's ever happened to me, and I'm like, you can't get there going that way. Maybe there's
Right.
something I don't. And I was by myself in the car, and I was in no hurry, so I'm like, I'm just going to let it go and see what it does. And it went the wrong way, and then it pulled off into a neighborhood, went around a block, came back,
Wow.
and then went the right way. So
Mine usually goes to make a U-turn. It's like, I can't do U-turns. You do this.
Oh yeah, we don't have a lot of Oregon. Unlike California, where you can do a U-turn anywhere that unless it says no U-turns, Oregon's the
Right.
opposite. You
Oh.
can't do U-turns unless it says U-turn permitted here. So there are very few U-turns in Oregon in general.
You've been
And
waiting a
so
while.
it did not try a U-turn. That I would
Yeah.
have stopped it. No, not allowed here, buddy.
Yeah. So mine it on the way back it was supposed to make a turn to the right, and it did go to the right, but it was way too early. And you know how sometimes we see the car do something, and we're like, oh well, that's wrong, and you look at the map, it's like, oh, that was right. So I was looking at the map to see what it was doing, and then it started to turn early, and I looked at the screen, looked at the map, like grabbed the wheel and continued on to where it was supposed to go, turned it back on, and it took the correct turn. But that was very similar to where it goes left or right, where it should have done the opposite. That was an experience.
JT, we need a number from you. Just come up with something.
Yeah.
I realize it's a tough thing, but
Just
you
swag.
gotta come up with a number.
24, right there is his number.
Like,
JT.
yeah, there you go.
What
Well,
was
that
your
puts him
number,
in
Casey?
Well, we're putting you down
Right.
for 24, which is 2 under Casey. So come
Yeah.
up with something, JT.
I'll be mad at Bob on that one.
Of course, this was a big party at the Gigafactory. All sorts of stuff going on. We're not going to go into that detail. We're just kind of running out of time here. So we've got a few other topics to touch upon. First one, Casey's favorite Gigafactory, still under lockdown. So
Yeah.
it's been closed since late March, and here we are, the 13th, and it's still closed. The city is closed, basically.
That's
It's
Shanghai
locked
for
down.
people who don't know what Casey's favorite Gigafactory is.
Yeah.
Just keeping us on track. So they were expecting they were going to be open by the previous Friday, and that came and went. And then they said, oh, maybe Monday. And then that quietly passed. And then folks started to get restless. And now the mayor of Shanghai is in, or whatever the equivalent of the mayor in Chinese politics is. They are in trouble for being too strict. But at the same time, somebody here, I don't know if it was you or you, that said, just because, right, just because
One of those guys.
just because you're done with COVID doesn't mean that COVID's done with you. And
That's
so
right. Yeah.
I tend to agree with the mayor's being strict rather than just wantonly letting her people at risk.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know how true it is, but some of the lockdowns I've heard that they're not even letting people go and get food, and that seems a little too strict. I mean,
But one I've
a
heard
little
with
too
that
strict.
is that
Incredibly too
they deliver the food to a point, and then the point has to be clear, and then you can go get your food from the delivery point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a bit crazy though, because when you start limiting people's access to food when they need it or want it, you're going to have a revolt on your hands, regardless. So
If it's
probably
like,
not the best way to handle it.
If it's like
Yeah.
Instacart for everybody, it's not so bad. Like, I want food now, and then like within 30 minutes, oatmeal or whatever shows up. It'd probably be rice, obviously, but
But when you're in a city of 15 million people,
right, that part.
the deliveries aren't happening when they should, and
No.
that can be a real issue. So
Especially if they have to do a point pickup when they get to the grocery store.
yeah, so let's hope things turn around and they lighten up a little bit, at least for the people's sake. I don't have a problem with Tesla being shut down. I realize it's not great for stockholders or for Tesla itself, but let's face it, Tesla's over the hump here. If they have a bad quarter in Shanghai for 1 or even 2 quarters, doesn't matter. Not really. It's not going to sink them financially. It's just, they're just going to have to sell more. They're going to have more vehicles to deliver next quarter. So I don't think that's a problem. I'm certainly behind the workers being able to be safe as opposed to someone getting sick over this. Let's try to get this thing under control. We're going to have to live with COVID. We know that. But let's try to be safe, everybody out there, and let's get through this together.
Yeah, and
Right. Tesla has 18 billion in the bank, and
right,
luckily this didn't happen at the point where they had a lot
yes,
less in the bank. That could have
exactly.
been life or death for the company, but
And the
now
one
it's
that's
just life
spreading
or death
there
for the
is
people who could get the virus.
right. And the one that's spreading there is Omicron 4 and 5. So it's not like, oh, we've seen this before. It's no big deal. This is new. For some reason, they refuse to give it a new name. So they have to come up with new protocols, see how bad it is. I like that they're looking out for their people first. And I did like Tesla's unique solution of making everybody sleep in the factory. Like you are now, instead of a 12-hour shift, you're now on a 48-hour shift.
Yep.
I
Everyone
don't
gets
know.
a free Elon sleeping bag, and they're
Right,
all
right.
staying in the factory.
You have to stay where you live. Okay, this is your new address.
Right. For the week. It was clever. That's the part I'm getting at. I don't know. It would depend on if they even enjoyed it, but it was clever. That's the part I enjoyed. I thought was pretty cool.
Casey, what's going on with reservations for the Roadster?
So reservations for the Roadster. All of a sudden, there's been a lot of just news about reservations reopening for the Roadster. They never really went anywhere. The Roadster Founder Series, they shut down months ago, but the regular one, you could always give them 50 grand and wait until Elon's numbers come true, and after the Founder Series is delivered, and you'd get your Roadster eventually. But
Oh, that's not at all what the headlines made it look like.
well, because the headlines were all, I don't know what they were doing, dog chasing its tail or something, but I was like, what
Trying to
is
get
this?
clicks.
Yes. So the headlines all read that the reservations have reopened, but like I said, they didn't go anywhere other than not being able to give them $250,000 for a Founder Series Roadster anymore.
Okay, yeah. So I took this as a really good sign that they really were going to start production next year, and it's not a sign. It's just it's been open the whole time. So
Yeah.
that's too
What
bad.
might be new is I think you can order the Roadster in China now, but it's the same situation. You're not getting a Founder Series necessarily, although they might have a Chinese Founder Series like they used to do. Each continent would get their own signature model, but for sure you can do the 49 grand and then wait until whenever. As several people have pointed out, if you had put the 250 down on a Founder Series Roadster and then bought stock instead, it would be worth about $8 million right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
that is a nice figure for sure.
right. So you got to hope that a Founder Series versus a regular series is worth that much more than the regular one to make up for it.
Right.
If you were
Well, we
plopping
also
down
wanted. Go ahead.
250K for a car,
You wouldn't notice it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking you've got some bank anyway.
But $8 million is really nice.
You would have a lot more bank though, wouldn't you? Yeah. Wanted to reach out and let people know if you're in Oklahoma, please reach out to your lawmakers. Bill 512 is going to bat. And of course, that is a bill that's going to prevent people from getting over-the-air updates in Oklahoma, as well as buying a Tesla at a Tesla gallery or showroom. So if you're in Oklahoma, that's something for you to be involved with now. You haven't got much time left. Stop delaying. Get involved with it now. Write your representatives. Let them know how you feel. Connect with an EV group that's local. There's more, certainly more people move mountains a lot quicker. So get together with people that you know that are like-minded and get some noise out there that you want things changed, because if you don't do it, no one's going to do it for you. So you got to get together and do it.
This was particularly nefarious because we were able to defeat HB 3994, which was the first bill with this exact same clause in it. And then what they did was they just shoved it in the next bill coming down the pipe, which is now Bill 512. So get those phones ringing again, get the vote, get the do everything you did last time to defeat this garbage.
Yep. Next, Patrick, what's up with Elon and Twitter?
Oh yeah. So the drama continues. So last week he was on the board. This week he's not on the board. Last week he was limited to acquiring 14.9% of the company. This week he is not on the board. He can acquire as much of the company as he wants. And so as predicted, Musk being on the board is not going to get him what he wants. And he wants to be able to change the company's policies to have more free speech, which I think will just turn out to making it more of a cesspool. I actually kind of like the policies they have in place there now, but he doesn't, and that's his right. So how it's going to play out is going to be really interesting. But if he's on the board, they told him a few things. One, that the board doesn't set the policy for the company. So even being on the board doesn't mean he gets to decide whether or not they have an edit button or who gets banned or who gets the blue mark. He can try to influence those, but the board doesn't make those decisions. So being on the board, he didn't get what he wanted there. And the other thing is it kind of handcuffs him in that he's then a fiduciary of the company, and he has to be very careful if he's critical of it, that it's not done in such a way that could hurt the company or the shareholders. And Musk loves to rip on things that he doesn't like.
Yes.
And so maybe having those restrictions on his abilities is not something he wanted to. It's funny because he's going there because he wants to enhance its ability for free speech. And they said, well, the only way you could do that is if you limit your speech. To which he said, hell no, I don't want to do that.
There's also the poison pill on it too.
Oh, what's that?
Where he would be unable to purchase more shares of stock because they didn't want him to do a hostile takeover.
Right. And in fact, did he change his stance with the SEC that now he's going to try to be an activist investor? So that would allow him to, if he goes over 10%, there's another filing that has to happen. So that would be made public. And he's just under 10% now. So we'll see if he continues to grow his share and tries to get what he wants in other ways.
Yeah,
becoming an activist investor.
This is an evolving story. So
yes, this drama is not over.
In a week. So
there was a lot of drama all over Twitter on this.
Yeah,
for, against, somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
Moving from San Francisco to Las Vegas, Patrick's got a story about the Boring Co. What's going on there?
That is right. So the LVCVA has this agreement with the Boring Company for them to operate the tunnels. And that was set to expire on June 30th of this year. And they had an option to extend it for up to 5 years. Well, they've extended it, but just for 1 year. So depending on which press you read, that is either a horrible thing, that they don't trust them, they're not going to allow them to they didn't take the full year extension, or if you actually read someone who's informed, you'll see that the board said why they did this for 1 year. And so the LVCVA president, Steve Hill, said this extension allows them the opportunity to renew later at a lower price. Why?
Wow.
Because they can cut their costs due to autonomous operations and reduce system overhead. So if so this is going to go into mid 2023. If by the middle of next year, so 14 months from now, if Tesla has autonomous vehicles down in the tunnels, then they can have a better contract, and then they probably would do the rest of the 5 years at a better price. So we've talked about this on the show before.
Yeah.
If there's any place in the world that they can get autonomous to work, it's down in the Boring Company tunnels. You don't have cross traffic, you don't have intersections, you don't have pedestrians walking in front of you, except in the area, the loading areas where they're going to be going 5 miles an hour anyway. And that's got to be one of the main places they're going to try to get this to work for this exact reason. It allows the whole system to function better.
Yep. Plus, like you said, if they renew the contract now, they're doing it at the price with people in there. Then Elon and co. drop the drivers, and they're stuck at the high price, and all the profit goes to the Boring Company. Whereas when you're trying to run a business here in Vegas, you want that money for yourself.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see if during this year, if they do start to do that autonomous within the tunnels. And I'm sure we'll hear about that with the with just public going to these conventions throughout the year. they're going to spot it first. So it'll be interesting to see when that comes into play. Hopefully, later this year.
Right. And we've talked about how the rules in Vegas don't allow for autonomy underground. Well, obviously, if it's going to help them save money, they're going to change those rules.
Yeah, absolutely. That won't take long. Or they'll issue a special permit that exempts it for whatever reason.
Right.
They'll get around that quickly.
Yeah, that was another April Fool's story, is that all the vehicles in the tunnels are autonomous now.
And finally, Casey's got a story about the Tesla charging kit. What's happening with that?
So in the design center, the design studio, when you order your Tesla, it used to have the verbiage of charging is easy. You can top off your car using the included mobile connector. We're adding emphasis from Drive Tesla Canada on included. Now the text reads, using the mobile connector bundle, you can charge off of a 110 or 220, and it no longer says included.
The word included has been dropped.
Right. Are they pulling it at Apple and then Samsung? So Apple, then Samsung, then Tesla just remove the charging cable?
Could be. Could be. Actually, on our Twitter feed today, we had someone comment about that, about what's the real use of it. And they didn't understand that you can use the NEMA connector and get basically 30 miles of range per hour by just getting a plug installed with NEMA and using that system that comes with a car. They were unaware of that.
On this car, I did the Tesla wall connector at 80 amps. It's a 100 amp breaker, 80 amps to the car. So this car would only charge at 40, but if you get the upgrade, it could do 80. The Model X would do 72. And here at this house that I'm in, I've actually got it plugged into the dryer outlet, and using the same mobile connector, I get about not quite 30 miles an hour, because the Model X is not anywhere near as efficient. Let's call it 15 to 20 miles an hour. And I go to bed and it's ready to go in the morning. Whereas on the other connection, if I got in at midnight, it was ready at 4 a.m. from zero. It's not the case here, but it's way better than what you get with the 3-prong. But it looks like they're not even including the 3-prong anymore, based on included being removed.
Based on included being removed, yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, you were making a good point there that I think could be a helpful tip for people in the community. Not everybody realizes that you can just buy a different connector for that. And
$30 or less.
Yeah, exactly. And if you have an RV outlet, if you have a dryer outlet, they're twice the voltage. And yeah, some arc welder outlets, some boat connections at a marina might have. So, I mean, there's all kinds of different connectors that you can get. And if you can get twice the current and twice the voltage, all of a sudden you go from 4 miles an hour, which is a snail's pace, to something that's actually usable overnight. And it's as good as the level 2 stuff that's out there in the world, and it's just from being able to plug in. So a lot of people think, oh no, I have to get something hardwired, and that's not the case. At my in-laws, they have an RV outlet, and if I ever need to charge up there, then it's I get some good mileage while we're hanging out and having fun with them.
Yeah, my nephew with his new Model 3 SR, he decided to go that route. He had a dryer outlet installed in the garage, and now he uses his mobile connector just to plug in, and he leaves it sit there, and that's his charging infrastructure. It works great. Yep. So depending on how much mileage you drive during a day, yes, that 20 to 30 miles per hour is plenty to fill you up overnight, or because most people spend typically more than 8 hours at home. So, you've got a lot of mileage you can put in that vehicle. And, as we know, most people only drive about 30 miles a day to do what they're doing. And, you can refill that in just an hour or a little bit more. So no big deal. So definitely consider that.
Yeah. So, my first year with the Model X, I just used a regular U.S. household outlet, 515. Yeah.
So when you go to Tesla charging, you've got all kinds of options. You've got the wall connector at $495. There's a pedestal for it. You can color match your wall connector, but then you got the on-the-road kit. The corded mobile connector is one I would probably personally avoid, because you can't change the tips out on it. Then you've got these adapters for just $35 to $45. You've got another copy of the charging J1772 adapter, which is dropped in price from $100 to $50.
Nice.
And then there's the one that used to come with the car as included. I don't know if it's still in the car or not anymore, but that one was just $275. And then you can also get this adapter bundle if you're like me and Patrick and you want to just be ready for
every possible plug that you can get. Yeah,
exactly.
Or like I said, just $35 to $45 to get just the one you need, and then you just plug it in there. But this other one, the corded mobile connector, you can't change the tips. You need the mobile connector bundle, which is no longer saying included.
Yep. So there are options. Think about it. Think about your use case scenario. There's also a handy little chart in the Tesla website that shows the charging speeds of the different amperages that can be hooked up, and you can curtail a solution that works for you specifically based on that chart. That's what I had looked over before I hooked mine up, and it was helpful.
Yes.
All right. With that, I think we'll wrap it up here. We thank everyone for joining us. If you haven't already, please press that button to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. That helps us out. Doesn't cost you a thing and supports the channel. And with that, Casey, what do you got going on this week?
Well, first I want to ask Patrick, what does this picture look like to you? You know, what does it make you feel like saying? About our future.
I see some solar panels up there. That's nice. I see an EV, and this house looks like a nice house where those panels can fully power it, and so that looks like a future that could be free from fossil fuels.
There it is. So I've got a video up at youtube.com/CaseyGreen where a friend of mine took delivery of his Rivian R1T Launch Edition.
Ooh.
And you can check that out. I still haven't got around to editing the lithium battery swap, and then now I've got a FSD beta video to make for 10.11.2. I'll probably start with an In the Rain video because apparently about 700 of us that I know of got the update finally after 50 plus days. So I don't want to just waste your time with, hey, you can drive down the dry street in the daylight. So I'll get you some rain as soon as it happens, and we'll see you there.
Very good. Very good. And of course, David Watts is happy that Casey did not get schmucked during the show by a car on the street. So that was good. That was good.
Gotta move and then come back to your podcast. It's like a hockey
Patrick,
game
what do you got going on at Cars with Cords?
That's right, carswithcords.net. Speaking of this, having Casey's house right there, we know that Tesla has a few products for your home: power walls, solar panels, so my latest one is speculating what else they might have that you could get in your home. We've heard some hints about an HVAC system, one that might. So will they do heat pumps? With their latest, with our speculation about master plan, the clues we've got where Musk has talked about Tesla scaling to a massive scale. I think they're definitely going to start introducing new products for people's homes so that they can also build their future free from fossil fuels. So if you walk around your house and look at anything there that's made that uses fossil fuels, Tesla's going to try to make products to replace that. So that's at carswithcords.net right now. And as always, I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Thanks.
Very good. Very good. Well, we thank you all for watching the show this week. We ran a little bit long. We hope we didn't waste too much of your time. But join us next week where we get together and we will find out what's going on in the Tesla life.
Thank you, Lee Moon.
Thanks, everyone.
Stay positive, test negative.
Remember, you might be done with COVID, but it ain't done with you.
Be safe out there.